So buying camera gear is amazing because it's always so much fun to get a new piece of equipment, but it also kind of sucks. You've got to spend a lot of money to buy camera gear, you spend hours searching and doing research to find and make sure that you can justify your purchase. So in today's video, I'm going to help you avoid buyer's remorse and make sure that you are buying the gear that you actually need. Before we even start to budget and actually think about buying lenses, it's first important to make sure that what you're thinking about is actually a priority. So take a second, think about all the gear you have or take a look at it and think to yourself, what would actually make sense? What do you need? What are you missing? What will allow you to grow? And what makes sense financially? And what are other alternative options to what you are missing? For example, if you're shooting real estate, then you need an ultra-wide lens because you want to capture the full interior of rooms inside, outside as well. You want to make everything look larger than life. A great example of something that could be missing from your kit if you're in real estate is a drone. Having a drone will allow you to get aerial shots, and this makes sense financially because then you can charge people more. You can add it on as an extra service, or you can create a new package that includes some aerial shots with the drone, and that way you're generating more income for every job you do, which will once again justify the purchase of a drone because you're making more money, the drone will get paid off quickly, and you actually generate more money, so then you can further invest into more high quality gear or extra gear that you simply want. So that's a piece of camera equipment that actually makes a lot of sense financially, and it's overall just a great idea. There's really no downsides to it. But of course, not all of you shoot real estate and not all of you want drones. So let's talk about some other examples where the same principle applies. Let's say you're starting out and shooting portraits. You have a simple 50mm f1.8 and you're thinking about getting another lens. And you want to get an 85 f1.4 because you think to yourself, oh my god, that f1.4 is going to be amazing. But take a second and stop and think about the price and value you're getting. Does it make sense financially? Because for the price of an 85 f1.4, you could probably get an 85 f1.8 and a 35 f1.8 for the same price. So look at it that way. You can have 3 different focal lengths or just 2. Having 3 is definitely an advantage because now you can shoot 3 different focal lengths and you're going to get used to shooting more different focal lengths. So it makes more sense financially and from an experience point of view to have a larger variety of equipment rather than just having 1 or 2 pieces of very expensive kit. Obviously, if you're loaded to the gills, then go at it. It really doesn't matter, but this is once again really only for people who are a little bit more budget conscious. Now that you have a general idea of what it is you're missing from your kit, it's time to start doing research on it and trying it. This ties into my earlier point where you're going to want to look at different alternatives or different options for a specific piece of kit. For example, if you want to get a drone, there's a whole plethora of drones depending on your budget and price range. Lenses as well, you have the f1.2, f1.4, f2.8, f1.8 alternatives. It's just crazy. There's so many different options and choices we have now as consumers. So you're really going to want to do your research and look into what best works for you. You're also going to want to look at what's going to be announced or released. A good example of this is the Sony A7IV G Master. There's been announcements and rumors of it for a long time coming up to the release, and in that aspect you know that hey, there's going to be a new version of this lens that I potentially want. What that means for me is once the new lens is out, a lot of people are going to be selling their old lenses to upgrade to that one, so maybe I can get a great deal on the first generation, or that stores are going to be putting the older version at a discounted price. You've got to keep an eye out for these announcements and new releases that are up and coming because you can grab yourself some really good deals, especially if you know that something is going to be coming into the market very soon. And once you've decided on the piece of equipment or specific models, you might have 2 or 3 different options that you were looking at, then I best suggest you go out to rent it or try to borrow it from a friend, someone you know, and actually try it out in person because nothing beats experience. You can always look at a bunch of reviews, but I think that personal experience works the best. A great personal experience that I can give you guys is the Sigma 35 f1.4. Now I'm not talking about the new version but the older version. I had rented it out for a video shoot. I really thought that this lens was going to be amazing. I thought this lens would be great. It was a lens that I actually really wanted to buy, but after renting it out for that video shoot I realized that actually this isn't really the lens that I'm that really interested in. It would have been so much worse for me if I had bought it and then realized that instead of having rented it out earlier, and now knowing that yes, I made the right choice to rent it and not buy it. And here's another personal example which unfortunately doesn't have a happy ending, which is a Samyang 24 f1.8. Yes, this thing literally just sits on my shelf and collects dust because I really thought, oh, 24 f1.8, it's gonna be the perfect vlogging lens. You're gonna have a nice creamy bokeh background, and I bought it before I tried it enough, and I regret it because now it just sits on my shelf and collects dust. So that's a perfect example of what can happen if you don't do proper research and actually try out the lenses, because you really never know what is going to work for you until you try it. Now that you've actually had hands-on experience with a piece of equipment you want, and I'm serious, really, try it out. I'm not joking. We can now start to actually look at buying the piece of equipment that you want to get. And I will always be an advocate for buying stuff used whenever possible. You would be shocked by the amount of people who have no clue what they're selling or no clue the value of what they're selling. It works both ways, keep that in mind. And the amount of options you all have available and the amount of money you'll save. Just to give you a personal example, once again, my entire collection of camera equipment I bought for around about 50% of what it's worth, because a lot of it was bought used. Of course, if you don't want to buy used, you don't have to. You just have to make sure that you do your proper research. I have a video actually that I'll leave up here or here, can't remember which side, which is actually a complete guide of what I do personally when I buy used camera equipment. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in buying used gear. Again, if you're someone who doesn't want to waste money, then I still recommend buying used regardless of what it is. You always lose less money on selling stuff. I've bought a lot of equipment used and I've sold it for the price I've paid for it. You know, I used the lens for a year and a half, and I sell it for the price that I bought it for. I basically have a free lens for a year and a half. So those are some of the advantages that you have on used lenses. So that's really everything you need to do in order to make sure you are buying the right piece of equipment for you. You're not wasting money. Hopefully you're not making the wrong decisions, and you're not going to have any buyer's remorse. If you found this video helpful, I would definitely appreciate a like and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you think that I missed or some specific things that you do when you're looking at camera equipment you want to buy, and leave it down in the comment section below so other people can take a look, read it, and hopefully expand their knowledge on buying camera equipment. And I'll see you guys next time.